I am very excited to be here today. I want to give a special thanks to Bergen volunteers and the Tau Foundation for creating the opportunity for these workshops. My hope is that you leave here today fully believing that your home should adapt to you, not you to your home. After decades of clinical work helping older adults and individuals with changing mobility and functional needs, I've seen how thoughtful home modifications can enhance safety, confidence, and function. So today's journey is going to take us on a little bit of a perspective change. Important takeaways today. Being proactive that allows you to make very thoughtful decisions, very hard to react in a crisis. And by crisis, there's usually a healthcare situation. And if there is a healthcare situation, very often, whoever needs the help really needs undivided attention. To have them to divide and conquer is very complicated, and time is often a factor. So putting thoughtful modifications to improve daily function immediately changes how you feel about your environment or the person that is navigating that environment that you're caring for. And it's reducing the stress level that may not have been acknowledged was there. And any modifications don't entail major construction, and small changes can be very impactful. So today is an important day. And for those of you who are present, you should really give yourself a little round of applause for showing up and wanting to learn and wanting to change perspective. What is aging in place? What are we even talking about here? There's a real definition. Aging in place is the ability to live in one's own home and community safely, independently, and comfortably, regardless of your age, income, or ability level. There are many options for where a person can live. All right, we're focused today on what happens if you're living at home. Why is aging in place important? How many of you want to age in place? Stay home. Okay. That's why it's important. You're not alone. 77% of Americans age 50 or plus want to stay home. Why do we want to stay home? Our house is much more than just the physical structure. There are memories. There are spots in that house that we just love, and we want to. We like our neighbors. We like the neighborhood, and we want to stay. So familiar environments, like they actually support cognitive health and brain stimulation. What's the goal? To be safe, to be comfortable, to be connected, and to create this living environment on our own terms. We have to understand what does it mean for there to be accessibility. So the definition is that accessibility means designing spaces in homes so people of all ages can move around. They can use what they need and live safely and comfortably and independently. I put that in quotes because it's really we live interdependently. So we're here today to talk about home accessibility. This is a concept that already exists. We see accessibility in our public spaces, and we really wouldn't want to have it any other way, right? Our healthcare facilities, the hospitals, the rehab centers that we go to are fully accessible for wheelchairs, for walkers, accommodation, you could get in and out your beds, in and out of the bathroom. Where else do we see it? We see it in public transportation. New York City and New Jersey systems have kneeling buses. Those kneeling buses are designed for more accessibility, but for everybody across the age span. Maybe the lift is helping a wheelchair, maybe it's helping a baby stroller. Building codes exist for construction, and what's going to happen as we continue this journey today is you're going to see that it's actually a journey. Universal design is not new. New construction is taking on many more responsibilities. However, we're living in homes that are not brand new and we're not designing for us. But we see a lot of accessibility as it pertains to the digital environment. Even now in our retail shopping, you could order online, you could have an accessible checkout. There's this curbside pickup that can happen. Financial to legal services try to provide accessible banking. So this is not a new concept. Don't we child-proof our homes for toddlers? So what are we doing? We're We're making sure that they're not climbing up the stairs that they're going to fall down, that they don't have access to poisonous um, material that's under the sink. We don't want any electric shock. We cover outlets, or we have the appropriate outlets in place. We make sure that the toys that we present are age appropriate so that these small pieces don't create a hazard. So what happens all of a sudden? All of those thought processes that we accept as logical and wouldn't do otherwise kind of stop at a certain point. From here on forward, when we think about home safety, what do you want to think about? You want to think about supporting your participation in daily life. You want to think about avoiding avoidable injuries. You want to think about your having confidence in your space, wanting to be able to go all throughout your space very comfortably. You want your environment to adapt to your needs. So we want to continue to support this interdependence. But we have to understand that there are risks at home. We just saw it with our telephone. So what's going on? What are the risks? Why are you having this conversation? Why are you thinking about it? There might be faults, there might be functional changes, and your environment matters. So here's the fact. 1 in 4 people aged 65 plus fall each year in the United States. Essentially, half of those falls occur with your bathroom being the primary location for those falls. So we could really stop right here and we could say, well, why is this still happening? Why is this happening? Why aren't all the preventative measures in place? What do those statistics, 1 in 4, like really look like? So look at New Jersey. We've got 37,000 people with a reported fall that needed to go to the emergency room. These are 2024 statistics. You would think that when you would discharge from the emergency room, you were like handed some type of grab bar to install. Would be like an automatic thing. Like you're leaving, if there was a fall in that bathroom, and even if there wasn't. So you've got like 37,000 people in the ER, and then over 12,000 of those people are going to require hospitalization. And what's the cost? Almost $2 billion. So now those are remarkable numbers. But the pain and suffering for the patients and the families are also remarkable. And let's make sure we fully understand what it means to fall. There's an actual definition. So a fall is an unintentional or unexpected change in position, resulting in a person coming to rest on the ground, the floor, or a lower level. So if there was a sudden descent, often triggered by a trip, a slip, a loss of balance, that is characterized as a multifactorial event. That is a fall, as defined by the Joint Commission. So the day I was walking up the hill, as I did many days and months before, with my walking poles, with my car, and then landed flat on my right knee on the cement because my pole got stuck. That fall was unintentional, and my meniscal tear was unintentional. But it was a fall. Sometimes you see somebody standing, and all of a sudden, they pop back onto the couch. Did they mean to sit down? Or was it lucky that the couch was there? And we're looking at statistics that show reported falls, but we know that there are many unreported falls. And understand that falls are not inevitable for aging. This is very important. They're a mismatch of a person's ability and their environment. So if I need something done on my roof, I am not going to go on my roof. That would be a complete mismatch. I'm not a roofer. That's a kind of a dramatic, example. But we know other things, maybe stepping on a shaking ladder and trying to change a light bulb. This is something that Shore has already identified. We'll show up for you. We'll change that light bulb. And to know that the CDC actually recommends an environmental assessment following any fall. Now, that does this assessment should accompany, not replace, a physical or medical review. But I ask you, for anybody that's had a fall, or somebody that's had a fall, has a home safety assessment been recommended to you? So now we're going to take a look, as is my particular interest, in what's going on with the person living inside the house, because we want that to match. We want that to work together. So I like to take this head-to-toe approach. So we're going to look at what happens if there are some vision changes, what happens if there's hearing loss, if there's a cognitive change, if there's a balance change, a sensation change, a muscle strength change, some effects from medication, footwear choices, pain and post-surgery. There are definitely some vision deficits that occur with age, right? We always see that little cartoon where your arms are out so far because you can't read up close anymore and you're holding the reading material. But there might be something, like a cataract, which could cloud your vision. And the statistics show that by age 80, more than half of Americans either have had cataract surgery or but have to remove them, or have a cataract that needs to be addressed. There's also age-related macular degeneration, which is going to impair the central vision. You will remember leaving the peripheral vision. But vision is something that affects you from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. And then again, if you wake up during the night. So why is this what happens in the house with the vision deficit? You may not have that complete clarity to make the distinction of where the step edges are. Maybe the glare from the floor or the windows is creating a blind spot, or lost of depth perception. Anyone ever seen someone trying to step into like the next room, right? Maybe it's very dark, the floor, and they're not sure where to put their foot. It could be because they're not sure if it's a flat surface. They're not sure if it's further down, and that can certainly be a factor that we want to understand and address. For night vision may be occurring, right? And people have very hard time driving at night, and this poor night vision is going to impact what happens when you get up during the night. So some simple solutions might be to improve your lighting, color contrast, have your night lights in place, have magnifying aids. What happens when we have hearing loss? Facts. People with mild hearing loss are 3 times more likely to have a history of falling than people with normal hearing. So my question would be, when it's detected that you have hearing loss, is there a recommendation for you to have a home safety evaluation? I highly recommend it. So what happens if you have a hearing loss? You have reduced spatial awareness and a reduced awareness of these balance cues that you need. Your cognitive mode for compensating for your hearing loss divert your attention from your state of being. And things like loud television or any other device that is playing loudly can distract you from your movement. I recently saw this sign in an audiology office that I wanted to share with you. And it said, if you have a vision loss, you will be the first to know it. If you have a hearing loss, someone else will know it first. Medication management. And we don't have all day, and we're not going to spend all day. And it's something that it's very critical to understand how medication influences your risk of falls. There are many medications that may cause dizziness and blood pressure or sedation, especially at night. The term polypharmacy means that you're actually taking 5 or more medications. In my physical therapy long life, I have come across many patients that are not taking just 5 medications, but taking 12 medications, 17 medications, 21 medications. It's a lot to manage, and often you should have physical therapists, nurse practitioners, doctor people should be reviewing family members that have been who understand what you have to be doing. You want to look at it. Why am I bringing that up? Because I came to a patient so tired during the day. He was receiving nursing care and physical therapy services at home. He was just so tired. Every visit requires a medication and reconciliation. And I discovered that he was just taking his sleeping pill during the day. And we know that it's very important to have them established in a way that it's easy to take. And you always want to have a current list of your medication available for any emergency services and for yourself. So certainly cognitive deficits are going to impact our safety at home. So from this picture, this looked like somebody who got busy in the kitchen, and we do know that, short-term memory deficit is show up sooner. Somebody opened the fridge, we have a little wrist here for food spoilage. The oven was the stove was turned on, the iron was turned on, wrists are burned, fire, the sharp objects out there. I love what Elsa talked about during her low vision presentation, and these are all on video, so really worth listening to. You have a dog knife, clean it, put it in away, like it's a nice habit to get into. Spills on the floor, pests, maybe trip hazards. So these are things, I cook with Alexa, anybody cook with Alexa, so if I put something back in the oven, I only want it to be in there 2 minutes because I put it on boil, and I'll tell Alexa, give me a reminder. She's very busy when she's cooking because something needs another minute, but it's very helpful so you don't walk away and start chopping something and the food is burning in the oven. So anything that you begin to use, uh, some of the AI techniques that are really out there for you into your daily life, highly recommend. Now, our balance deficits certainly impact how we're going to manage our space. So these are just two very simple diagrams. And one I'm going to show you, I always start with the woman who has slid down to the ground. So it looked like she was just, so she slid. So why she slide? Did her stockings, were they slippery? Did she have a sudden episode of dizziness? I don't know. We don't know. Okay. And our woman using the walker, we're also not sure. She's outside, she's out and about, she's got her bag on. Uh, but what we do know, or what we can really presume, is that somebody using a device where they're putting some weight on their hand has some type of balance issue or weight bearing issue where they can't put their full weight onto their legs, so therefore they need some upper body support, and that's why they're using the walker, right? We also know that medication, dehydration, and fatigue are going to exacerbate our balance deficits. So things like, grab bars and handrails could be some of the steps. Now, sensory was not visible, right? So we might have this reduced sensation or inability to cause an inability to feel the surface, or the uneven surface, or temperature change. Peripheral neuropathy is common with diabetes, and that means that just like when you stand up, you feel the floor completely under the ground. Terrific. If you have peripheral neuropathy, you're not going to feel it that way. The same way you may have a loss of sensation in your hands. So gripping something becomes that much more complicated because you don't know, you're not feeling it. So having well-fitting footwear is very important. Examinations to your feet. So what does that mean? You might have a small wound that might get a little bigger, that might lead to an infection, but you yourself have to take a hand mirror and then look around at your feet so that you really see it, as well as, see the appropriate people who are helping you take care of your feet, whether they're your podiatrist or primary care physician. So there is muscle weakness that happens when we age. It happens when we're younger. It starts to happen when we're older. And if we have weakness in our legs, that's going to affect how we get up from a surface. So any surface, the chair, the bed, the toilet. But if we have weakness, and again, I am sort of like disclaimer, if there's a medical restriction, and medical history that does not allow, that's separate. But most people can participate in physical activity that can help gain some strength, help gain some balance, and I urge you to find your activity of choice. Okay, infrared footwear. This is something I've been talking about for years. Okay, we have a sandal. It's open. Your toes are not protected. Your heel can slide off. We have somebody walking down those stairs with the flip-flops and a laundry basket. I have to say, flip-flops are my enemy. They're just my enemy. I want you to understand something. When you wear flip-flop, Your toes have to the floor to hold that shoe on. That is not the way you're supposed to walk. Your foot and your shoe should go smoothly together. Okay, now we're coming on the stairs. So we don't see the head of this person walking down the stairs, but it really could have been my friend who took his laundry basket, loaded up the dry cleaners, so we only had to make one trip down the stairs, had no vision of the stairs, started down, slid it, set up the stairs, and broke 3 vertebrae because I didn't want to make 2 trips. So here we see the bottom of the stairs. We want it matters. It matters. We've got to take those things away. Pain, surgery, how we're transferring. Pain medication is often prescribed post-surgery, and many medications, especially opioids, can cause drowsiness, dizziness, or slower reaction time, which impacts your balance, your coordination, thereby increasing your fall risk. So now you go in, you have a surgery, you have a date, and now you have to go to the bathroom. So the things that you have to work on are managing your pain, managing your restriction of movement. If this was a surgery that now maybe your knee is not moving as best as it was, right? Maybe resurgery, maybe it was hip surgery, right? So you've got pain, you've got restriction of movement, you've got fatigue from surgery, and now you have to manage a new assistive device, a trip to the bathroom. You're not really sure that this patient is going to allow you to come in with your new assistive device in turn and maybe keep your leg extended because it's not moving the way it was moving before, and manage your clothing and your personal care. So my question is, what was the plan for? What was the plan for? If there's any surgery, there should be a lot of planning for what's going to make it very accessible for you when you get home. So we want to know our situations at home. We want to know what kind of housing type we have, what kind of rights we have. Do you rent or do you own? Regardless if you rent or own, you have rights. Of course, there's the Federal Fair Housing Act, which enables tenants to request modifications with disabilities. Some of those modifications might be just simple grab bars or ramps or handheld showers, like you certainly can request them. Landlords have expectations. They must allow a reasonable modification. But in private rentals, they may ask the tenant to be responsible for the cost, and they may request that the unit be restored and move out. But they're not allowed to retaliate in any way. And I'm going to just make a personal suggestion. If you're living there and you plan on living there, don't have what's going to happen when I move out as the priority. Have the priority is how am I functioning there now? So this is an interesting terminology called Peter Pan housing. Remember Peter Pan? He didn't want to grow up. Well, Peter Pan housing actually a term coined by Dr. John Pine, who's kind of reflects on homes that were built where as if occupants were never going to age, right? Then when there's no accommodation for mobility, for safety, for accessibility. So things like it being a multi-level home or no bedroom or bathroom on the first floor, steps to enter no matter which way you're entering, washers and dryers in the basement. How many of these things would you say are in your home? They're in my home. So why do you hesitate? Why do you hesitate to make accessibility changes? There is a bigger move now to hesitating less. But we're not all on board. We're definitely not all on board yet. So it's kind of the denial not there yet. That should that doesn't, you don't have to be there. You don't have to be anywhere. You just have to be thinking that I want to have the accessibility. I have never met a grab bar that wasn't touched. Never. I never met a railing that wasn't touched. Because if they're there, they should have been there. Right? So the question is not, am I ready? The question really is, why wasn't that grab bar in my bathroom in the first place? That's how I would like you to think, because that's really the reality. There are some cost concerns, but there are also simple projects. There's simple changes that can be helpful. Some people, they'll deal with it when they need to, or they don't know where to start, right? So you all actually now know where to start, and you're going to pass this on. Some people are concerned about whether or not this is going to be favorable for resale, right? So there's a lot of things about aging in place and creating an accessible environment that are extremely favorable for resale. Having a walk-in bathroom that's accessible with a shower on the first floor, that bedroom, better lighting, wider doorways. Nobody wants to say no to that. And that's, again, I also point out, don't over worry about this because most people got the house and change the whole environment. I don't know. You got to worry about how you're living, not how the next person is going to live. Having some smart home technology to place is great. Step-free entryways. Wouldn't you love to just get to that door and you're not lifting up your sick packages on steps? Be great, great. Who wouldn't want that? Of course, there are financial costs. This is just a slide that it has some resources right here. They're not, everything is not so easy to navigate, but they do exist. So who can help and what's really possible? I'm just taking a moment to explain who is a certified aging in place specialist. That certification is provided through the National Association of Home Builders. I always had a very strong interest as a physical therapist, people really being able to stay at home, but stay at home well, not have a bed in the middle of a living room without any privacy not drinking because there's only one bathroom and it was upstairs. I was never in favor of that. So therapist like myself it can be and then by specialists, occupational therapists, architects, designers, contractors, and the like. And what the goal? Assess the living space, provide solutions, and support saving and interdependent living. Benefits, big relief to friends and family who are the caregivers. You can increase the confidence of the individual aging at home, restore the dignity and greater sense of normalcy. So what if like somebody just is going into the bathroom that they need help because they just need a little bit of support and there isn't the simplest thing I'm going to say is a grab bar. So you have to go in because they need the support. Imagine if you actually just took the grab bar and you didn't need to go in if that was what was needed. Everybody's very individual, but there are ways to look at this and understand what will give somebody back a little bit more dignity and a little bit more privacy. And of course, there are times that additional support is needed. And sometimes people say, I've heard this, I don't know if I'm staying in my house, because they don't want to make any changes. They don't know. They don't know that I have decided. But unless you're moving out next week, I highly recommend you make the change because chances are even that process or even making a change may make the next few years that you do want to stay at home just that much better. So certainly technology support aging in place. And again, I refer you to our wonderful video by Linda on all the technology. And you really want to begin to use technology to support you at home. And it's very important, especially for lighting from motion lighting. It's very important for temperature control, for your medication. I want to talk for a moment about healthy brain activities while you age at home. Many of the things that we do require a lot of thinking and a lot of planning, whether it's cleaning our house, doing the gardening, and these are physical activities that we want to be able to maintain. Even making your appointments, dealing with service people, and these are all very worthwhile brain activity. And of course, Brain Bowling today has a very nice little package for everybody to take home for some brain activities. Having a pet in helps to create a routine, some more companionship. You're shopping, but when you're doing it online, you're going to the grocery store, requires planning. A safe and accessible home is not about limiting independence. It's about supporting interdependence so people can live fully and safely. Now it's time to take a look at the house. What we're looking at are some general ideas. It's not your particular. Your own particular has its own particular interests and things and needs. But we're going to look at this. This is almost the same way I look at a person from head to toe. We're going to look from an entrance to the flooring, to the steps, to the bathroom, the kitchen, the living areas, the bedroom, and the garage. And I also want to talk a little bit about just the general durable medical equipment they may have evolved. So what's going on when we think about our entranceway? We want a nice pathway from the street to the door. Be lovely if we had an overhang for extra protection. I'm just going to say to you that if you have a plan to change your roof in any way, add that overhang. You can have better lighting, and having that protection when inclement weather is just fantastic. Lighting is important so that they can see your pathway and what's going on at your front door. Can you unlock it? Can you have access to it easy? And then what do you have an organized entryway? So when you come in, do you have a place to put your things down? So this is a very unsafe entryway. We don't want our entryway to look like this. We're going to slip out. This is us, and we don't like that. That's not what we want. We want our entryway to be accessible, and maybe there's a ramp that's needed. Maybe there's a vertical lift, or maybe there's just a particular, handrail that's needed. I wake every morning with my walking partner, and then I sort of do a home assessment and for every house, and then certainly for every bit of new construction. And sometimes I pause and I think, did we have handrails? How do that? Oh, watching the construction, and the handrails can go up to the 6 steps at the side of the house. And I'm like, oh, that's not so good. Wait for those handrails to come. But, each town has its own, guideline of when you have to put that handrail up. But if you have the step, put a handrail. This is interesting because these are the ramparts for your door frame. So often we have the handrail that gets us to that landing. Okay. And then we all have this one more step to get into the door, right? So actually putting one handrail in the door frame, it does not prevent the door from closing, is a great idea. So we need an accessible entryway. This particular house, this particular slide was my very first home assessment after my certification. And the client had just had a fall with an ankle fracture. That the healing process was going to be for over 3 months, 6 steps to enter onto her porch in the front and 12 in the back. So both of those entrances were complicated. So here was the driveway, all right? And here it started out with the bush. So what happened was, I thought, this is a great thing. You want to come out of your car, you want to have the accessibility right there. So the bush was removed, the lift was put in. Here's a beautiful ramp, right? This looks nice. This looks like, oh, that's lovely. Almost looks like painting the house. But I put it up because I want you to understand, for every inch of rise, you need 1 foot of ramp. So that was generally 6 inches, some are 8 inches. That would be 6 to 8 inches of ramp. So it was not about slapping down a ramp and creating a ski slope out your door. They really have to be measured professionally. Sometimes you see ramps that are sort of zigzag because that's providing the upper slope angle. Otherwise, that I'd have to kind of wrap around the whole block in order to come down. But it's not about just putting a ramp. I have 3 steps. I'm just going to slide something on that. So now when we're doing our house, we want to see what's going on with the flooring. This is not uncommon. There might be a rug on top of the carpet, which I've often seen. Area rugs might have fringes, which love to get entangled in any assistive device or your foot. All right. So these things, and then if you're using a carpet or a floor surface and you are using an assistive device, those thick pile carpets are kind of like they push it back to the flow. Less is more. Less is more. Smoother. You want to understand what's happening between rooms or surfaces. Okay, what does that look like? Is there a step, a threshold? What's the flooring? Slippery and wet, right? We're usually more slippery and wet. Board piles have a dynamic coefficient of friction, and the lowest dynamic coefficient of friction you should have is 0.42. You should definitely have a higher coefficient if your the slipperiness is mattering. It matters. It matters. You don't want slippery tile in your shower. You don't want it in the bathroom. You don't want it in your kitchen. So now we come to the living room and we're thinking, oh, this is good. I'm good. You want to make sure your electrical cords are not like this, okay? So which way am I going? But you really, there's ways to take care of that. I'm going to talk a little bit about furniture. All of us, some of us may have a real comfy couch, a real comfy chair where the cushion is actually very soft. The softer the cushion, the harder it is to get out of. Anybody know that? Do you know that? Try to help somebody out. It's real soft. I need your son again. So a simple thing about changing the density of the foam in the cushion can work. You could just replace it with a more dense foam. We're going to kind of enter the kitchen a little bit. We want it, if we have pull-out drawers and the right handles, it makes it a little bit easier. Level style faucets, countertop microwave. You don't necessarily want to try to be reaching high and taking out a hot dish and not having a counter underneath you, but having a counter and just being able to slide it out. That kind of simple change, can be very functional. Often the cabinets are just high for it, and so there's always touch down where you can bring down the shelving. Certainly, if you're in a wheelchair or you want to be sitting, you can change the counter height. You can have multiple counter heights. So this is just visuals of the D handles and the lever handles for faucets. Now we're going to enter the bathroom. There's lots to think about in the bathroom. Many people have had recommendations for comfort height toilets. That height is 17 to 19 inches from the floor. But we're going to keep in mind it's not a one-size-fits-all. And what if your spouse is 6'1" and you're 4'8"? Who's using that toilet? Maybe there's a second bathroom. Maybe we're going to consider who should be where. All right. There can be simple things like wraparound toilet doors, but having grab bars that are secured to the wall, you have to know the wall is going to be able to hold it. Maybe you decide and you can't possibly use your back wall. Bidets are really nice. Outlets have to be put in for bidets to be used. Motion sensor night lighting, very important. Certainly if you're making mini trips to the bathroom, or just it gets dark at night, right? You're waking up a little bit tired, or not so clear. Maybe your glasses aren't available for that trip. We want to make everything as acceptable as possible. And any outlets that are near the water have to be GFCI protected. So we have someone who had a fall in this bathroom, and I'm coming out. We're not sure what happened. Okay, I'm gonna say maybe we didn't see because there's no color contrast. Maybe the slipper fell off, and we have over here. We have the vertical hold for the shower heads that slide. These are very nice features. I want you to be aware that certain of those vertical holds are not true grab bars. So we're going to talk a little bit about the toilet. And one of the things that I have learned in my clinical life is that a commode, does everybody know what a commode is? It's like a portable, it's actually provided through insurance if you need a device. It's like a portable toilet. It has a bucket, it has a seat, some of them fold, and they're okay if you need it at your bedside. What we really want to be able to do more comfortably is use our toilet seat. So this particular toilet seat elevator has bars. Many, you could get them without the bar. And I call this the middle of the Oreo cookie. This is a toilet seat elevator. So the bottom is the toilet bowl. The top is your toilet seat. Much more comfortable. So anybody that needs a little more height, a simple toilet seat elevator can give you that height. So a bathroom upgrade is real nice. If we were able to have a step in a shower, we want to include color contrast. And let's look at this. So here's your before and after. And the reason I selected this is because we didn't change the footprint of the bathroom. All we did is take out the tub and we created a walk-in shower. Color contrast, very important. Picture with full white. You could really get lost in the bathroom, especially if you have a cognitive loss. Examples of how nice having the appropriate grab bar. These, if you Google grab bar toilet bar holder, these things come up. If you Google grab bar towel bar holder, you want your towel bar to be your grab bar, because otherwise you're holding onto your grab bar that's not. You're holding onto your towel bar that's not your grab bar, and it's going to get shaky. Could come off. It's important that your bed height suit you. So what does that mean? That when you sit on the edge of the bed, your feet are flat on the floor, your hips and knees 90 degrees, like they're sitting kind of how you are right now. You really ideally would like to have both sides of your bed accessible. You'd like to have lighting at your bed. You want to have your closets organized, your furniture anchored properly, windows accessible, with the screens in case they're needed as egresses. You want your cell phone charged in your bedroom if there's no landline. A digital clock is beneficial if you don't have heavy glasses on when getting up at night. And having a chair in your room to rest, to get dressed, can also be helpful. This is an adjustable door hinge. This type of door hinge will allow the door to swing down differently so that you can get that 1 to 2 inches that you might need, but you can't get because the door is away. So this allows you to open up the door, usually out. So we want our mattress height and our box spring height to be suitable. And often we can change the box spring height, or we can change the bed frame if they're big and have legs. They could possibly be cut down. We don't really want to be on a ladder that would climb 3 and 5 steps to get in and out of the bed. A half bed rail can be very functional. It creates a bed boundary. It creates a little support when someone's just getting up and taking a moment to sit. You want to be aware of what you need. Do you need the space filled in? Will anybody get confused if those bars were not there? And then kind of put you don't want anybody putting their head through, right? So there are different kinds, but this is I like particularly because it allows for this has legs that go down to the ground, so that it has a little better support that way. We're going to take a look at another feature that we are talking about, which are the stairs. Stairs should not feel scary. These feel a little scary to me. We want to see handrails. We want motion sensor lighting, possibly low pile carpet or stair threads. We want a good contrast. We want to see just a step and the rise. We might need to put in a chair lift. We might need to put in a different platform. Or we might need to be considering making our first floor much more livable for us. I wanted you to see this as a picture because the two handrails are in place. The lighting is good, but she looks very apprehensive to me. So it doesn't look like this is the best setup for her. And also gripping so tightly, like what are we actually going downstairs for? Is this a laundry pickup? How are we managing if we have to hold something? So just because we can put a second bar doesn't mean that is the whole solution. Here's another way of just looking at these stairs. For my client who had a neuromuscular degenerative disease, her capability to come down the stairs, even once a day, was extremely exhausting. Lighting is important. We're really talking about having accessibility to lights, which is really motion lighting, stair lighting, hallway lighting, task lighting, lighting all over the place. That's lighting. Night lighting is the bathroom. Want to be avoiding high glare bulbs. So the difference on the left, it's very dark. I would go down those stairs versus right, and it's just all about including lighting. Also, we mentioned before, anti-glare glare can be very damaging, and we might want to keep our house dark and the windows, fully covered. There are some anti-glare window treatments that can be utilized. And we want to talk about the garage. You want to have a garage door opener that is, motorized, of course. You might need motion sensor lighting. You want your shelf in the garage to be secure. And you want large trash bins with wheels. Does everybody have large trash bins with wheels? Because if you don't, you can request them from the town. So there's often that garage entry is the most practical, accessible entrance. And if that's the case, then we want to use it. So this is what it would look like. We might just need an appropriate ramp to enter. This is a larger threshold, or we might need an actual vertical lift. And in vertical lifts or share lifts are more specific to vertical lifts, where their position matters and what space you have matters, because this is an ideal situation where the lift is on the side, but there's still accessibility for the stairs. So everybody comes home to the garage. Whoever needs the lift is using the lift. Whoever wants to go up the stairs can go up the stairs. So maintenance of durable medical equipment. It is a walker, it's a bench, a cane at home, and there are rubber tips. A rubber tip should be looked at the same way we look at our tires. They don't last forever. So this should be changed. If you're using a tubby, or if you're using a walker and any assistive device, there's a weight capacity for these items. Some go to 250, some go to 350, some go to 650. So depending on who's using it, would depend on what you need. And so if anything's being ordered for you and somebody doesn't know your weight, you need to make sure that they know your weight so that it is appropriately fitting for you. And a lot of these devices, especially the shower chairs, are adjustable. I've come to so many homes as a PT where the chair was delivered and it is on and its lowest height, and nobody's used it because nobody knew it was adjustable. Of course, we want to make the right choice. You want to have your thought decision really at a time when you could think about it and it could have the appropriate resources, help guide you through making beautiful choices and plan before you need to, because that's the time you want to plan. Here are resources in New Jersey, Bergen County, always think safety and accessibility, plan proactively, modify thoughtfully, and live fully. It's been a pleasure.